Hey guys, it's Audra and welcome back to 365 Projects. I am here today with a brand new book tag made by Sajid and Dylan, and it is called the Meme Book Tag. Now, I am definitely not as well versed in memes as they are, but I'm still going to give this one a shot, so let's just get into it. The first meme is Crying Kim Kardashian, because who has not seen this one? This is obviously a book that made you cry, and I'm going to go with my most recent one. It got me so good, and obviously as soon as I start talking about it, you'll realize why if you've been around here for a while. It was Miss Bigsby's Last Day by John David Anderson, and this one is about a teacher that gets cancer and has to leave the school year early to receive treatment, and yeah, that's basically the story of my last school year. That's exactly what happened. I had to leave to finish my treatment and get surgeries done and all that kind of stuff, and so it was just hard to read. It was more about like the impact that this teacher had on her students and how they were trying to create the perfect last day for her. They had had this conversation on what would you want to do on your last day, and she had laid out like what she would like. And this was before she was diagnosed, and so these three boys are trying to make this day happen for her before she has to go to a different city and have a surgery done for treatment. And it's just heartwarming all the way through. I knew going into it, based on what a kid spoiled, like hardcore spoiled, I never had a book spoiled quite as bad as that, of what the ending was going to be, and I knew I was going to like it, and I was totally right. I was sobbing when I finished this book at midnight, but if you need a good middle grade book about a teacher that has made an impact and some amazing kids, definitely give this one a shot. I cannot recommend it enough, but make sure you have some Kleenexes so you're not bawling in the middle of the night like I was. So the second meme is Salty Bay. I don't know that I saw this guy before they shared this one. This is a book that needed a little something more. And my answer is going to probably be a little bit salty because it's not the popular opinion, but I've talked about it before, so I'm going to just throw it out there. My book that needs something a little more for me was Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shauna McGuire. This is the third book in the Wayward Children series, and I loved it, the first two. I gave them all 5 stars, and I felt this one just fell flat. I gave it a 3. I didn't feel like the world was as dark and twisty as it was meant to be, like in the first couple books. This one was more like Candyland with a little bit of spice thrown in, and so I just thought I needed a little bit more. I'm hoping that since there's like 5 more that they signed up for, that it'll become better and become what I was hoping they would be in the future. But we'll see. All right, the third one is Guy Thinking, and this is a book that made you think. And I'm going to go with one I read a long time ago, and maybe not a long time ago. It was like 2 years ago, but in my life at this point, it was a long time ago. It's called The Forgetting Time, ironically, because I had to look up what it was really about. And it's by Sharon Guskin. It's by Sharon Guskin. And so this is about a little boy whose name is Noah, and he believes that he's had a past life, and he wants to go back to that past life. He wants to go back to his other mother, and of course that just breaks the heart of his mother, and her name is Janie, and she's a single mom, and so it's her journey in trying to figure out what is going on with her child, as well as the story of Jerome Anderson, who is a psychologist who has studied all this reincarnation stuff, and it is an outstanding read. The reason that I love this book so much was because it made me think. Reincarnation is not something that meshes with my own spiritual beliefs as a Christian, but it made me think about other people who believe in reincarnation and faiths that believe in this. And it just made me stop and like take it all in and contemplate and understand what they believe in, and I appreciate that, and it made me want to search more into it. And so yeah, it just made me think, and I would definitely recommend it if you are an open-minded person that is willing and able to read about people different from yourself, which I absolutely love and can't get enough of those kind of books. So let me know if you have any more of those down below. I'd love to check it out. Number 4 is The Confused Guy, a book whose hype you don't understand. This one is one I read when it first came out, and it's just recently getting hyped up again because I think it's like the 3rd book that came out, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. And I say that a little anxiously because I know there's like a huge fan base for this book, but I just don't understand the hype of it. Maybe it's because I read it when it wasn't hyped, I don't know. but it is more like a sci-fi book, and that's probably where I get disconnected from it, about a group of people who has a certain blood color, and like it's kind of like their rank in society, and they go to war and all this kind of stuff, and that just wasn't for me. It dragged on and on and on and on, and I don't understand it, and I won't be finishing the trilogy. I think I gave it like 2 stars, so yeah, there's that. So number 5 is Evil Patrick, and this is a guilty pleasure read, so something that you consider to be a guilty pleasure. I feel like this is kind of morbid to like speak out loud, but I guess my guilty pleasure, like most happy spot for reading that I've loved the most books in this genre or subgenre, would be World War II or historical fiction. So I think there are 2 main reasons of why I enjoy reading these books. The first one is that my grandfather was over there in the army at the end of World War II. He's visited Hitler's nest. There are pictures of him like at the concentration camps that are hidden somewhere in their family home that he hid once my father was 18. He hid them so the grandchildren couldn't find, and we still don't know where they are. And his brothers were all fighter pilots. There were 3 of them that were fighter pilots, and one of them ran so many missions that they were able to come home early, all 3 of them together. And so there's a lot of family ties of just like seeing what my grandfather saw while he was alive as a young man. And the second reason that I enjoy reading these books is because there's still so many stories left to tell. New stories are coming out about people during this time period and how either they survived or their family didn't, or people that helped out in going around the evil that was going on during this time. And my hope is that with these stories being told, more people are immersed in history and not letting it repeat itself, because it shows us what can happen when one small-minded man gets people with other small minds to believe in his extreme plans to exterminate an entire population. And yeah, let's just move on. So anyways, now that I went off on that little tangent, some of my favorites that you want to definitely look into is Yellow Star, and this is a middle grade novel in verse. Another novel in verse that is YA would be Paper Hearts. Another favorite of mine is Briar Rose. This is by Jane Yolen. She wrote The Devil's Arithmetic. But this one is a YA fairy tale retelling set in the Holocaust based off of a grandmother's story. One that is a lot like that is Kristen Hanna's The Winter Garden. Also another one is the true story of Hansel and Gretel. There are so many that I could recommend. If you have any recommendations for me, please leave them below. But we need to move on because I still have 4 more books that fit in this category to tell you about. Number 6 is Meryl Streep, a book that you are always hyping up. I love this meme. But this one would definitely be Sarah's Key by Tatiana de Rosne. This is my favorite book. I think it's because it got me into this subgenre of Holocaust, World War II fiction. It's not Holocaust, I take that back. World War II fiction about what the French did to their own people. It goes back and forth in time, which is another one of my favorite kind of tropes of how people from then and now are connected. So the storyline of this is basically in the past where a little girl has locked her little brother in the closet when the Gestapo come and take her and her mom away. As soon as they get to the place where their father is as well, they realize that this is going to be a major issue with the little brother in the closet. And you fast forward into time, and it is about an American writer who is writing a story about the French and what they did to their own people, and how that family that she is connected with is connected with the family in the past in the apartment. It is so good. I'm hoping that it holds up because I am going to reread it this year. It's in my reread jar. And so, yeah, it's my favorite. Like I said, I hope it can hold up for me. Anyways, moving on is number 7, Successful Baby. A book, whether you liked it or not, that made you feel accomplished after reading. And for me, that would be Unbroken. I think it's by Lauren Hildebrand, maybe. You can see it on the cover here. And this is the nonfiction account of a man named Louis Zamperini who competed in the Olympics and then went off to war. He was shot down and survived in this raft, and it's his whole story of during this time and how he lived life afterwards. And it's a pretty chunky book. And I'm not a nonfiction reader, so I felt accomplished after reading this, and it is so very good. If you have not read it yet, you need to read it. The movie is also great as well. Definitely check it out. So number 8 is Pennywise. For me, it's going to be a book that you had high expectations for, but it ultimately let you down. And that one would be The Librarian of Auschwitz. To me, like, I heard this one was coming out. I wanted to get the day it came out. It sounded absolutely perfect. It's about a girl who hides these books in Auschwitz and she becomes a librarian. This just sounded like it would be like my favorite book of forever. Like it would take place in Sarah's Key. But I've had the book since like at least November, because I remember buying it before I went to chemo, so at least November, so what's like 5 months, and I'm still only halfway through it because it's drug on, and I can't get into it, but I gotta finish it because it's supposed to be my jam, but it's not. I don't know. We'll see. So number 9 is Headphones Guy, an audiobook that you enjoyed. And if you've been around here, you already know that I'm going to hype this one up. It is my favorite audiobook ever. It is Echo by Pam Munoz Ryan. Now, this one is just a great story altogether, like from start to finish. It's a chunky middle grade about 3 kids that are connected during World War II with one single harmonica and how it weaves in and out their lives, including in the future. And the beautiful thing about the audiobook is that it plays the harmonica with the story. Oh, it's so good. I'm definitely going to give it a reread. It may be the only book in the history of my life that I have read 3 times if I read it again. Number 10 is Distracted Guy. And for this one, there are 2 books. So a book that you have been putting off. For me, that is Losing Hope by Colleen Hoover. I really liked the first one. I think it was called Hopeless. And this one was from a different point of view of a character within the book. And I got to the part where he walks in and finds his sister dead. And it was too raw, too real, because I've been through the same thing with finding my own brother. So I have put it off, and it's in my jar for this year, so we'll see if I actually get to it. But I do weirdly enjoy reading books about grief, because it makes me feel like I'm not alone, and like the characters understand how raw and real it is. But this one was just a little bit too much, and so I want to try it again. We'll see. And the secondary question to this was a book that is a distraction. So it's one that has you wanting to stop and read it before everything else. And here we go again with the World War II books. But this is The Tattooer of Auschwitz, and it's based on a true story about one of the men that was responsible for tattooing the numbers on their arms, and about how he fell in love with a woman that was supposed to be going through the camp. So I'm excited to give this one a try. All right, and number 11 is Catch Me Outside Girl. Oh, that girl. She's a hot mess. This one is a book that tried to be something that it's not, and I'm going to go with One of the Boys. I don't even know who the author was, but I got this one because I saw it at our indie bookstore, and I believe it's by a Kansas author, and it's about an abusive father that's obviously not right with mental illness, and it's a very, very short one, so I was like, oh, I could definitely read this and it'll be great. Why I thought that, I don't know. But it just fell short. It was not at all impressive. It was definitely problematic in spots and not enough explanation as to why things were happening. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't know if I thought it would be more like a List of Cages, but didn't like it. The 12th one is Dog in Fire, as I'm fighting my dog right now for a chew, how appropriate. How many unused books do you own? This is a ridiculous question, guys. Like, come on, call me out. As a librarian, this one, like, it's stupid. I don't even know the answer. I have a shelf in my bedroom. I have boxes in the basement. I have boxes in my garage. I have books at work. Like, I'm gonna guess like 300, maybe, if not more. I don't even know. I don't want to know. I know I will never read all of them, but they make me feel happy. Just let me be happy, okay? The guilt. The guilt is real. Hi. Yes. Oh. You're trying to make me feel better. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. And the 13th one is you get to choose your own meme, which is awesome because this is my favorite meme ever. The invisible bowls of cereal of the KU basketball player. Oh my gosh, it makes me laugh so hard every time. But with this one, I decided it would be a book that I ate up. And there's been several that I finished in one night, but most recently, stop, Brady, boom, stop. He's back. So most recently, the book that I ate up is Long Way Home by Jason Reynolds. Oh my stars, it is so good. This is a novel in verse that is YA about a boy who is trying to decide whether or not he is going to retaliate against a gang shooting that has killed his brother, I believe. And so this entire book takes the course of like a minute and a half or something ridiculous. As he's going down the elevator, he sees ghosts of people from his past, and the last page like leaves you in awe and shock and disbelief, and I have to go back and reread the whole thing again. And so that's the last book that I ate up. Other books I recently ate up is Wish Tree, Save Me a Seat, and the latest adult book, it's been a hot minute, would be The Language of Flowers. So I need another one to eat up. If you have any ones that you've really read in one night or binge read, please let me know. I'm dying to have that feeling again because it's been a while. So that is it for my book meme tag. Thank you so much to Dylan and Sajid for creating this. It was a lot of fun. I had some good laughs along the way. And yeah, I can't wait to do the next one. If you like this video, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.